We're calling to order the Finance Committee of the Trumbull Town Council at 7:05 this evening. I'd like you all to join me to begin with as we recite the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you very much. Would the clerk please call the roll?
Kevin Shively.
Here.
Juan Contafio.
Here.
Lisa Valente. Michael Miller.
Here.
Lori Rosasco Schwartz. Tony Cinto.
Here.
Mary Isaac. And Donna Siddell. We have a quorum.
Okay, we have a quorum, so we can begin. To start with, Mr. Miller, would you please read Resolution TC 28-107?
Certainly, Mr. Chairman. Resolution TC 28-107, be it resolved that a memorial designation in the name of Mary Ellen Bolton, namely Mary Ellen Way, is hereby added to the entrance to Jane Ryan School abutting Shady Lane. Full resolution attached.
Do I hear a second? Thank you.
Second, John Contafio.
Thank you very much. I understand, although Lisa Valente was not able to join us this evening, she did provide a statement that she would like to have read into the record on behalf of this resolution. And Dawn, you have that statement?
I do, through the chair. I'd like to read this from Councilman Valente. Jane Ryan is an amazing community of caring people nestled in a neighborhood of residential homes with children riding bikes and walking through the neighborhood to enjoy the field and playground at Jane Ryan. Jane Ryan School is my neighborhood, and I often greet the teachers my children have had as I walk my dog or get the mail. I did not have the pleasure of meeting Mary Ellen Bolton, but in talking to Vin Lipinski and hearing the emotion in his voice, she is well deserving of having the entrance named after her as a tribute. I have spoken to many of the neighbors with children currently enrolled and teachers, and everyone I mentioned it to had tears in their eyes. I fully support this resolution and the thoughtfulness of Vin Lipinski. Sincerely, Lisa Valente.
Thank you very much. Is there anyone else that would like to speak to this resolution? Not hearing anyone else. Do I have any objection to having this resolution confirmed by unanimous consent, approved by unanimous consent? I hear no objection. So by unanimous consent, this resolution is adopted or recommended to the council. All right, Mr. Cinto, could you read resolution TC 28-96, please?
Okay. Resolution TC-28-96. Be it resolved that the town attorney hereby authorizes to settle workman's compensation claim known as Donna Marie McCarthy versus the town of Trumbull BOE, Board of Ed.
Second, Dawn Contafio.
Thank you very much. And I understand we have a few people that were here that could speak to this resolution. Any discussion, as I understand it, Mr. Shopik, that we have on this discussion that talks about the settlement, we would need to go into executive session. Is that correct?
Yes, that's true.
All right. Thank you, Mr.
I'm not Dan Shopik.
Yeah,
yes.
well, you answered my question. So anyway, thank you. So is there any discussion?
Myself, he's correct.
Thanks, Dan.
Thank you for that confirmation. So does anybody have any questions or things that they need to discuss regarding this resolution?
Through the chair, I'd like to make a motion to go into executive session.
Do we have a second?
Mike Miller, second.
Okay. So I believe, Mr. Chin, did you send us the separate links for the executive
Yes, I did.
session?
About 5 or 10 minutes ago, I emailed the committee a separate Zoom link. So you'll have to leave this meeting, click the link on that to join the other meeting. And then when you're done, rejoin this meeting.
Okay, then let the record
Miss-
reflect that the,
Mr.
I'm sorry.
Chairman,
Yes,
could we call the vote? Maybe you can get unanimous consent.
Does anyone object to unanimous consent to go into executive session? Hearing no objection, then I would say that the committee goes into executive session at 7:10 p.m. We will leave this this meeting and join the other link in
Mr. Chair?
executive session. Yes.
I just want to clear, Bill, did you send that link to Fred Green and Mike Bonapone? You both have it?
Yes, I did.
Is that
And
part of the, was
through the
that part
chair-
of the original invitation?
No,
No,
it was
it
sent
would be
at
a separate one.
7:04.
And
Mike, it just came through.
And through the chair, Kevin, can you also recognize those you'd want in the executive session with this, please? The members that you'd like to allow in.
Right, okay, so we're talking about that we'll be going into executive session, the 4 members of the Finance Committee of the Town Council, as well as Mr. McCarthy, Mr. Bonapane, Mr. Green, and I believe Mr. Shopik, First Selectman Tesoro, and does Ms. Katsky need to be in that as well?
No, Mary Beth Thornton may want to be in.
And-
Mary Beth.
And Mary Beth Thornton as well.
And
Anyone else?
I think Dan Martin is here for Maria, I think. Is that right? Yeah,
Yeah,
so,
okay.
so Dan should be in
Dan,
there.
and Dan as well. I wasn't sure. Thank you for clarifying that.
Thank you,
Dan
Dan.
Martin as well. Okay, so we will go into executive session and we will see you there.
All right.
Okay, I believe we have everybody, unless somebody can speak up and tell me if you see anybody missing, but I think we have everybody. So we'll call the Finance Committee of the Town Council back out of executive session at 7:35 p.m. And we have a motion, a resolution on the floor.
Kevin, if it's Dan Show, before you do that, just to announce that the executive session ended at 7:34. Right.
Yes, the executive session did end at 7:34. Thank you for that clarification, Shopik. And we have a resolution to have this and a motion to have this settlement recommended to the town council. Go ahead,
I
Ms.
don't-
Capio.
Margaret, do you need to know who made that motion and seconded to go out of executive session?
Thank you, Dawn, yes.
So that was moved by Don Contafio and seconded by Michael Miller to go out of executive session at 7:34 p.m.
Thank you very much.
So the motion then is on the floor to recommend this resolution to the town council. Do I hear any objection to unanimous consent to this resolution? Not hearing any, then the resolution is passed on to the town council with our recommendation. All right. So I guess it would be your turn, Ms. Contafio. Would you please read resolution TC 28-108?
Yes, yes, I'd be happy to, Mr. Chairman. Resolution TC 28-108, be it resolved that $253,947 is hereby appropriated from the general fund to various accounts. See accounts attached.
Yes, and we do have those accounts attached here with the agenda.
We need
Before
a
we-
second.
Yes, I do need a second. Do we hear a second on this resolution?
Second, Mike Miller.
Thank you. So as you see, as we discuss, enter into discussion on this, these are various accounts coming from the general fund. Mr. Martin is here in Maria's stead to answer any questions or to explain any of these processes. There was one piece that was not put into the record completely. However, it was an email from back last winter from Dimitri Paris in the Parks Department that about the tree warden budget, and a lot of this has to do with trees that were considered high risk and needed to be addressed. At that time, the warning was given that the account may go over budget, and it looked very much like it was going to go over budget. I should also make sure that everybody understands, if you didn't see the Board of Finance meeting last week, that this does not have anything necessarily directly to do with the historic storms that we experienced. These are issues having to do with the emerald ash borer infestation being the principal driver of a lot of this damage to the trees that needed to be addressed for public safety concerns and to address complaints by citizens in the town. Does anybody have any questions of Mr. Martin about this and about any of the other transfers here?
Kevin, it's Tony. I have a few questions.
Yes, please.
If you don't mind.
Go ahead.
This is from fiscal year last year, and this is just to clean up, to finish the books off the June 30th. That's the first question.
Yes, it is. This is what we have to do to get the accounts all in balance for fiscal year end.
Okay. Can you just explain on page 5 of this stuff that we got sent to us? The number 1, additional tree work done due to trees and storms, snow account under budget 145,000. Can you explain that?
The Board of Finance basically allowed it in quotes for them to go over budget here to take care of these trees, knowing that the snow overtime account was not used to the tune of $140,000. So they basically offset one with the other, knowing that we were able, that would cover the spending there. And that piece that is now the piece that we have to fund over and above that piece.
So the total for tree removal was 145 plus the 121?
The total for tree removal, I can tell you in a second here.
I think you're talking about the 121 plus the
140, yeah, plus the 145.
No, I think they were just saying, if I understood, correct me if I'm wrong, Mr. Martin, but the 145 is just, the Board of Finance was saying, since the snow account was under by 145, we have somewhere near that amount of money that we can then instead apply towards this tree work. Is that accurate?
That is correct.
Then why are we expensing 121,000 on the first line?
Because it's within the 145,000 that we saved on the snow.
Yeah, so we can't, the fund has to, we can't go across different departments to fund this. So this is basically moving that money out, the contingency, not the contingency, the fund balance has to cover the overage in the tree account, knowing that the fund balance will increase because of no overtime, less snow overtime in the highway account. We can't transfer between different departments.
This is just a note that they're putting on it just to explain their reasoning, right?
Correct.
Of why they approved this transfer.
So, okay, just one more last question. This does not affect the snow budget for the current year that we're in.
That is correct. This is all fiscal year 20.
Just wanted to make sure.
Yep.
And last question is social services, number 4 on that line. The food distribution for the COVID, that was at the school, right?
No, this is at the senior center.
At the senior center?
Yes.
Okay, I didn't know it was at the senior center. I thought they were just doing it at the school. I didn't know
No,
they were doing it at the senior
that's
center also.
the food pantry that we maintain at, basically located at the senior center, where they are taking care of people coming in for food during the height of the crisis.
Oh, okay. I thought it was the school. Okay,
No,
thanks.
just the
Thanks very
town.
much.
These are just the town.
Okay, thanks.
Does anyone else have any other questions? Okay, do I have any objections to approving this resolution by unanimous consent?
Oh, Kevin, one more question. I'm sorry.
Oh, go ahead, Tony.
Was this stuff has theoretically already been paid out, correct?
Yes, it is.
This is just paperwork.
That is correct. We're transferring balances to get the accounts into line for year-end close.
Okay, that's what I thought. All right, just wanted to double check. Thanks.
No worries.
Dawn?
Through the chair, Dawn Contafio, I just want to make sure, did the Board of Finance approve these transfers?
Yes, they are approved to you folks.
Thank you.
Yep, in fact, just for the record, all of these resolutions regarding transfers were approved by the Board of Finance.
Thank you.
Unanimously.
Unanimously, exactly. All of them by unanimous consent. So again, then, unless anyone else has any other questions or comments, is there any objection to approving this resolution by unanimous consent? Hearing none, it is approved and sent to the town council. So, Mr. Miller, back around to you. Resolution TC 28-109.
Resolution TC 28-109, be it resolved that $22,978 is hereby appropriated from the general fund to 01030200-578802 MNTNCE/REP equipment building.
Second, Dawn Catapio.
Thank you very much. And just for the record, I believe that stands for maintenance and repair, right, under that account. And we do also have a breakdown of do we have a breakdown on this one?
There was a, yes.
I gotta find it here. It's all the way back. Okay, yeah, it's down on page 10, isn't it? Yep. Yeah, for maintenance and there's just the one account. Does anyone have any questions for Mr. Martin regarding this?
If you don't mind me asking, what was the breakdown of what it was all for?
Actually, well, it was all just in that one account. Do you mean like what? I think it's just generally went over by that amount. Is that correct, Mr. Martin?
That is correct. This is what's left over to fund through the the fund balance. We already have transferred funds into here to eliminate or mitigate some of the overages from within the department. This is what's left to go to balance out the account. And there's an attachment that folks got that talks about
that's page 11.
$31,000 of non-anticipated repairs that were done to the various buildings in town.
Yeah, I think that's what you were looking for, right, Tony? The emergency one-offs expenses breakdown on page 11.
Yeah, it's upside down, but
Yeah, I know it's sideways. I'm looking at it sideways. Is that what you were looking for?
yeah, so this was, they went over because of repairs.
Yeah, these are big time. These are one-off and non-anticipated repairs that came up during the year.
And how much was all that for?
It was an overage of about $31,000.
Okay.
Looks like $31,064. Yeah.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Yep, that's right.
Okay.
Okay. Any other questions?
Oh, I see it over here. Okay. Gotta turn right.
Okay, and like I said, this was also approved by the Board of Finance by unanimous consent. So do we have any objections to approving this resolution by unanimous consent? Hearing none, it is approved and sent to the town council. One last resolution here, Mr. Cinto, would you like to bring us home with that resolution TC 28-110?
Sure. Resolution TC 28-110, be it resolved that $69,929 is hereby transferred from Town Hall contingency to various accounts. See attached.
Second,
Okay,
Dawn
did we-
Catapio.
a second. All right.
What page is that one, Kevin?
So that one is on page, actually,
Is that a crooked one too? Wait.
I didn't get there yet. It is on
13.
page 6, actually.
6? All right, let me go
Page
back.
6.
Yeah.
So I'll start the discussion on this. I want to make sure that, so on the Board of Finance meeting, Board of Finance member Elaine Hamners brought up a question that I thought was actually a very worthwhile question. I thought it was a great question as far as why we ended up having so much money left over in the town hall contingency account. So I did speak with Mr. Martin about this earlier, and maybe you can just kind of rehash kind of what you explained to me, Mr. Martin, because I thought that it was something that, normally we would not have that much left over, right, in our contingency account. So,
Normally. So what it is the contingency account primarily in this past budget year, 20, accounted for the raises that were anticipated because contracts were not settled across the board for almost everybody union-wise in the town. So we had to anticipate what the raises were and budgeted into the contingency account. Throughout the year and at the year end, most of the departments were able to cover these raises, these retroactive raises that we put through their own department budgets. And what's left over here is what was not covered within the departments themselves.
right, and I think you also were saying that some of those departments were able to do so because of you know, the situation with less services being offered and less
Service, yeah.
hours.
Because what we rolled back how we rolled back in March, a lot of things that we would normally be doing were not being done, and it caused extra funds being available within the line items within the departments that were able to absorb these raises that occurred throughout for these unions as they got approved.
But as I understand it, then the amount of money that we had to budget it that way because we had to budget what our expectations were as far as our
Correct.
obligations contractually.
Correct. In fact, there was one union that actually had 2 years worth of contingency in there only because it wasn't settled year after year at the time that we had to put in there because they had to go back so far.
Right. Okay. So it wasn't necessarily a mistake in budgeting. It was
No,
required. It's just-
definitely not. That's
we
that's
just-
how we have to budget, especially when the contracts are not in place. When we do budget, we try to anticipate the best we can based upon what Civil Service tells us as far as anticipated raises, if it's 5% or 2% or 1%. We plan that through our calculations into that account there. But we
Right,
can't
okay.
show it. But we can't show it within the departments because we really don't know where it's going to end up. That's why it's in contingency.
Right. Obviously, because I know that it only raised eyebrows because obviously we don't want to budget more than we need to tax our citizens, obviously.
Correct.
However, you know, the silver lining here obviously is that now we have that money that can go back into our general fund and
Correct. When we
and we're
close
going to
out,
obviously
that money
need it
goes-
going forward.
When we close the books, that money gets pushed back into the general fund.
Got it.
As an overage, like in any other account that we have an overage in, that all gets pushed back to the general fund.
Great. Okay. Thank you very much for that explanation. Any other questions and discussion about this resolution?
No, thank you.
Okay. And again, just like the Board of Finance, do I hear any objection to approving this resolution by unanimous consent? Hearing none, so approved. So that ends the business that we have before us in this committee. Do I hear a motion to adjourn?
So moved, Dawn Contafio.
Do I hear a
Second, Mike Miller.
Thank you very much. We stand adjourned. Thank you all for your time this evening.